All right, Mother. It's Sunday morning. I don't have anything to read you at the moment. Well, not necessarily true, but it never ceases to amaze me at the stupid things people do, but get away with it. So at this project that I've been messing with, at least half of the windows have this little plastic bag taped to the interior. And in the plastic bag, there's, I don't know, 8 or 10 stainless steel 3-inch screws and this, installation instructions. You know, I think I made a video or took a picture or something about we had to take some siding off. Here's all these mullion clips, these reinforcement clips, with no screws in them, or one screw. But if you look inside, a little bag of screws is hanging on the window. So it's like, well, you know they didn't install it right, because they're the screws. But anyway, I took one of those bags and brought the directions home and just sitting here reading it. I mean, none of those windows are installed right. By any stretch of the imagination. They don't have screws in them. They don't have shims under them. I'm not even sure the flashing's done right. But keeping with the theme of other clusters I've been involved with, I know I ran out of time, whatever last video I made. You probably remember the whole framing debacle I was involved with. I guess I can't say his name. That project out there in Colombia. But I get a call from somebody, hey Kevin, guy's got a big project out there. He fired his framer. He needs somebody to take over. Can you do it? I said, yeah. So I go out there and look at the job. And whoever the original framer was had about 2/3 of the joist down and maybe half of the plywood. Actually, that's not correct. He had 2/3 of the joist down and just a couple of sheets of plywood. And I think that builder saw what was going on and said, oh, you're an idiot, you're fired. So I got to looking at it, and yeah, it was a mess. All the joists, they weren't parallel, they weren't in line, they were crooked. He started running plywood. He'd drop an 8-foot sheet through on one joist, and by the time he got to the other, the 8-foot part of the sheet was half on a joist, and then it was half off, so he was nailing blocks. I mean, it was a nightmare. So I told the guy, I said, we got to take all this off. So he's like, fine, take it off. So I said, well, that part was cost plus or whatever. It wasn't part of my framing bid. So we took it off. Started reframing the house again. We're going up. We got first floor down, all the high gables, working our way up to the second floor. I'm trying to get a draw. Guy won't give me any money. Hang in there a little bit longer. I get the second floor down. I try and get a draw. He won't give me any money again. And similar situation that I'm in now, that I seem to always be in. Homeowner comes out there. The way I look at it, I'm not building for the builder. I'm building for the homeowner. Like I've said before, I'm building someone's home. I'm not a framer. I'm building a home. So I pile up with the homeowners. This guy's not paying me. A bunch of semi-shady shit going on. Eventually I go to the homeowner. I'm like, look, I've got this house to the top plates of the second floor. And I haven't gotten any draws. I mean, I demoed all the original work that was messed up. I reframed it. I need some money. I guess at the time, they were having issues with the builder as well. And they said, okay, Kevin, what do you want? We'll cut you a check. Just give me $3,000 so I can pay my guys, and we'll figure the rest out. So they write me a check for $3,000. They don't, because they just know me as Kevin Baker and not, at the time it was Joyce the Rafters. They write the check to Kevin Baker. They give me a lien waiver. I signed the lien waiver. Kevin Baker, president of Joyce the Rafters Incorporated, to cover my ass. Anyway, this whole thing goes to hell in a handbasket. The builder's doing pretty much the exact same stuff the builder on Cat's house is doing. Just not following procedure, not following engineering. Had this shady guy. He was so shady that the engineer that's doing shady shits on Cat's house hated this other guy because he did shady shit way more. But this guy was signing letters here and there, not stamping them, and not really inspecting. I mean, he wasn't even coming. I never saw the guy. He was never on the site. But the basement slab, it just starts crumbling, coming up in pieces and cracking. Of course, I got all my steel I-beams on the basement, so all that shit's getting affected. I don't know. At some point, I just said, I'm not getting paid. This place is a nightmare. I quit. So I packed my shit up and leave. The builder calls me back. He starts threatening me about I've abandoned the job, and he's going to charge whatever $65 a head to finish my work, and I'm getting a bill for it. And I was like, whatever, dude. That house is collapsing, and you caused it. I didn't think anything of it. Well, not that I didn't think anything of it. He owed me $10,000. He didn't pay me. The homeowners paid me $3,000. And then he's saying I abandoned a job that I wasn't getting paid for. I was just like, I'm fine, no problem. Next thing I know, I get puts a lawsuit on it. What in the hell is going on? The basis of his lawsuit was he had to finish the job, and it cost him $10,000 to do it. So I hire yet another idiot lawyer. I mean, I had a 3-ring binder full of evidence. And I told him, we need to get a structural engineer to back up what I'm saying. I forget the exact terminology or exactly what happened, but so this court case comes up, and my lawyer thinks in his mind that he's going to have the case thrown out because I'm a licensed legal corporation, and I got lien waivers signed as a licensed legal corporation. The builder was suing me personally, Kevin Baker. I said, no big deal. We're going to go in there today and we're going to get this thing tossed out because he's suing the wrong entity. I'm like, okay. Because he hadn't got the engineer yet. He hadn't prepared the case. He wasn't prepared, but he thought this would be over in 5 minutes. Well, what I didn't know at the time was the judge was good friends with the homeowner. They were high school buddies. And this whole court case thing was just delaying the job. They thought, the homeowners thought, was delaying the job. Again, that particular builder was a sweet-talking son of a bitch, and he had basically blamed the entire collapse of the house on me. Made himself look like a genius, a knight in shining armor. So the homeowners just wanted me to go away and move on with their project. So we go to court, and my stupid lawyer, unprepared, says, Your Honor, Mr. Richards is suing the wrong person. Mr. Baker is president of a corporation, and if he has a lawsuit, he needs to sue the corporation, not Mr. Baker personally, because he was acting as a corporation and building a project. I guess the prosecuting attorney, he said, oh no, Your Honor, Mr. Baker received a check as Kevin Baker. My attorney says, no, he signed the lien waiver as president of Joyster Rafters Incorporated. The other attorney says, here's the check, Kevin Baker. I had pierced the corporate veil. Judge slams the gavel. I owe $10,000. I haven't been paid $10,000 or the additional labor for tearing down the original ship, and now I owe $10,000. So at this stage, I'm about $25,000 in the hole. And I'm paying for the lawyer, who was an idiot. I got all this money I owe my guys. I just tell them, look, I'm getting screwed. I don't have any money. I don't want y'all to get screwed. So let's just take the assets that I have. My generators, my tools, my trucks. We'll divvy it up. Call it even. And I said, okay. And I gave one of my trucks to one of the guys, a bunch of tools, things. So me and the crew, we were fine. I actually went to, I owed some money to R.C. Goodwin's. And at the time, Archie was running the show out there. I went to him and I told him what was going on. I said, man, I'm sorry. I know I owe you money, but I'm getting screwed and I don't have any money. And I said, I've got about $1,200 cash. I think I owed him like $3,000 or $4,000. And he was a good guy, man. I mean, he recognized what was going on. He said, well, I understand. You give me that whatever, $1,400 cash, $1,200 cash, and we'll call it even. If you ever get back on your feet, come back and we'll do some more business. So I always respected him. I'm pretty sure Scott, I think that's Scott's dad, the guy that we're buying from now. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Long and the short is there was a lawyer in the courtroom who was listening to my case, and he knew I was getting screwed. And at one point, the judge stopped the hearing or whatever and asked him, he said, do you have further business here? And he said, no, Your Honor, I'm just interested in the case and I'm listening. So he listened to the whole case. And it was just blind luck, a shot in the dark. I think my father told me I had made a mistake by getting a lawyer from Chesterfield to fight a local case in Columbia. He said, what you need to do is find a local lawyer. So I started looking. There were like 3 lawyers in that entire county. And I called one, and it happened to be the guy that was listening to my case. And we met. He said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I mean, I loved his strategy. He dissected everything I did. So I had like the original demo. Let's say that was worth $3 grand. And then I had the framing bid. That was whatever. And then I had another bill that was for repairs because the slab and the foundation was cracking up, and I had to jack things up and move things around. So instead of just totaling this all up and saying, all right, we're going to countersue, he did a good lawyer trick, which I think a lot of them do, is he filed 3 separate suits just to piss that guy off. So now he's got to fight 3 cases instead of 1. And that really irritated that guy. So in response, he's got this judgment. He thinks I'm just going to go away. I don't have a case. Now he finds out I have a lawyer and I'm countersuing him. So I forget what the motion is. He files something to enforce the judgment. I gotta go to court again. And I didn't have any money. But my good buddy Paul Holmberg, he paid for my lawyer because he knew me and he knew I was a good guy and he didn't want me getting in trouble. So he paid for my lawyer, my new lawyer. And when I went to this, I used to know the term, inquisition about funds or whatever the hell it is. You got any savings? No. You got this? No. You own any land? No. You own this? No. What about your tools? I said, well, I had to give it all away, pay for my guys because your guy wouldn't pay me. He's like, well, how are you paying for the lawyer? I said, my good buddy Paul paid for it. I don't have any money. Anyway, so this guy, he doesn't get jack. I get my structural engineer. I mean, I start building a case. I mean, I had the quote-unquote engineer that was signing off on all this structural shit for the project. He wasn't even an engineer. He was a land surveyor who was acting like an engineer. And he was being third-party inspection. Nobody out there in Vickville cared to even check. So he was passing all this shit. There was no oversight. Slabs cracking up. Steel beams aren't loaded right again. So I'm like, I'm going to sue that guy. I'm going to sue this guy. I'm going to sue the building inspector. You know, I was sue happy. So this goes on and on and on. I mean, it's about 2.5 years. And my lawyer made sure that I sued for enough money to get to circuit court so I could plead my case in front of a jury. When we went to court, part of what really happened, I even got the original framer as one of my witnesses because he couldn't understand, he couldn't figure out what was happening, why his framing was crooked. But I figured it out. And the reason his framing was crooked and the reason the slab was cracking and the steel beams were loaded wrong was because the builder used another product that wasn't on the plans, which was called superior walls. Basically, what it is it's a preformed concrete wall with kind of a base or a footing. And you get the hard pan, you put a bunch of number 59 or stone or whatever the hell it was, you tamp it down, and you set these wall panels on the footing, and then you pour the concrete over the footing to help keep the wall standing erect. And then you put a 2x12 mud sill on the top. Well, this builder, the house, the site was on a giant boulder, just like the cat's house. It's almost exactly the same scenario. That's why I'm just ape shit. I'm not going through this again. But, the guy had to get people out there with dynamite and blast this giant boulder out of the house site. Of course, he blasted it bigger than it needed to be, so he puts the house in there, and there's no backfill around the walls. And Superior Wall specifically says you cannot backfill the foundation until the diaphragm is on. Well, this guy, he was another I don't give a fuck. So the original framer's out there putting his joists on while this builder is steadily backfilling unengineered soil against the foundation wall, which causes pressure, which racked the entire structure and made all of his joists run out of crooked. I tore it all off. Again, what little diaphragm was there, now I tore it all off to try and correct the problem. Put new joists on, and he's steady backfilling. So one side of the wall is in compression, and the other side of the wall is in tension, and the foot of the superior wall is rocking up and cracking the slab. Anyway, I had a good case. We were in circuit court, and the builder was trying to say, I think the Latin term, res judicata, which means this has already been adjudicated, why am I here? Well, the circuit court judge was not pals with the homeowner, and he was not pals with the general district court. And he's like, I don't know that it's been adjudicated. I didn't hear the case. You haven't presented anything to tell me it's been adjudicated other than a judgment. You got a $10,000 judgment, and Mr. Baker's got $30,000 worth of countersuits. So he wants to hear the case. I'm like, hell yes. I'm gonna get my day in court. I'm gonna get my money. I'm gonna get the hell out of here and move on with my life. Well, the builder's attorney, he calls for a break or whatever. His attorney and my attorney get together, and he says, look, let's get the hell out of this courtroom. You give me $1,000 and we'll call it a day. My attorney comes back and tells me off. I said, hell no. I said, he owes me 30 grand. I want my money. He says, well, Kevin, if you're smart, I mean, you got a good case, and you might win, but you also might lose. Because you pay this guy $1,000 and just put this behind him. And I thought about it and going, all right, I pay it. So that's what he did. I paid the guy $1,000, which Paul Holmberg gave to me. But the thing that really pissed me off is the homeowners were following my case. And as soon as they knew I had a case, as soon as I was gone, they subpoenaed all my documents and all my evidence, all my shit that I had put together and found. And they turned right around and sued the builder for $80,000, and they won. They didn't give me any of it. But that's why I am so anal now about everything. Paperwork. I'm a paperwork fanatic. Documents. The cat's got this problem in her eyes. I can't find it. I've been trying to find it. I'm going to find it. I'm going out there today. And I'm going to find it. My mother knows how I get. Once I get pissed off enough, just like she is. It's like my father, really. You ain't gonna stop us. Basically, I was at $40,000. 10 grand judgment, 30 grand that he owed me. I didn't have any money, but he still couldn't. He just kept thinking I was gonna go away. But as I've said before, when you're that broke, when you got a man who has nothing to lose is a dangerous man. He found out the hard way. All right, I'll see y'all later.